What's up, y'all? Once again, I know, I know it's been multiple days, but I figured at this point that this is just going to be like a couple times a week type of thing. I'm probably just not going to remember enough to do it every day. But yeah, at least like, 2, 3 times a week I think is good. Um, but yeah, actually, kind of a lot of things happened since last time. Um, Not necessarily negative, but it's kind of like changed everything. Um, I don't know if I want to get into it on here because it's like a whole 10-minute explanation and it's just not worth it. But basically, some life changing stuff involving a person, a girl, uh, and it didn't turn out great, but it was a first for me. And the first time, I'm guessing, the first time is always the worst because you have no experience with it yet. Um, yeah, yesterday I was like bawling. I'm not even gonna lie. I only feel comfortable even saying that because like today I feel better. I feel like I've already moved on quite a bit. I guess I got everything out yesterday. If you were to see me yesterday, it's like a totally different person. In attitude and demeanor and just mood and everything. But yeah, so crazy, crazy shift. But this is kind of a part of the journey. I started this whole thing, I think a week ago, 6 days ago, I'm not sure. Um, but this is what I signed up for. I signed up for changing my life, and there's a lot of bad baggage that comes with that. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, obviously. But the important thing is that in the end, all the bad will add up to something good. It'll result in something good. And that does mean negative experiences, especially with girls. It wasn't awful. I'm not gonna sit here and make it sound like it was like the worst thing you could imagine. It really wasn't, but it was just like my first time, so it felt awful. I didn't eat really like anything in the past like 5 days. Not five, like 3 days because of it. Yeah, it wasn't awful, but it being my first time, it like kind of took a toll on me, and obviously highly emotional. I'm still pretty young, so I never like dated in high school or anything, or even like attempted to. Just to give you some insight on my state of mind, like that's how like behind I was in high school. There's no problem with not dating in high school. But I think looking back, I definitely should have tried, you know, especially because I felt lonely. There's plenty of people who might not feel lonely, and they get by just fine with like just their friend group, and it's genuinely a good thing that they don't go for that. But I was definitely not that type of person. I was lonely a lot, and I struggled with people, and so it was kind of not a choice of my own that I didn't have a girlfriend in high school. But I'm in college now. I'm growing up. I'm an adult, and it's it definitely hurts. But yeah, that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. And I've been kind of in a hole ever since then, but today, especially recently today, like past 6 hours or something, I kind of spoke to like a friend about it, and that stuff really does help. Just kind of talking to it, talking about it with a friend, um, and I realized like a lot of the anguish and negative emotions I felt. I mean, it's largely due to my own mind. It's not like like I said, like the events of what transpired between me and this person weren't even anything crazy. It's just my mind, like, uh, just took over and created a bunch of turmoil, and that really didn't have to exist had I been like stronger and more level-headed. It really is just the fact that it was my first time that I left my emotions unchecked. So yeah, that happened. I guess that's a good way to mark a week of this channel, right? I got some life changing stuff, but not not in the way I expected or wanted. But that's part of the battle. And I think I've been kind of watching a lot of YouTube, trying to get my mind off of it. And I ran into some channel. I think his name's like Alicia Long. It's a dude. The name is a little weird, but it's a dude, and it's a decently big channel. And he talks about his strategy through life is, he calls it retard maxing, and it sounds quite ridiculous, but I mean the whole premise is that you just kind of go through life, not overthinking about stuff, not being in your own head, just not thinking when you don't have to, just going through the motions and just doing. And it's really simple, but I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. And as someone who's been an overthinker my entire life and a huge pessimist, and I'm always in my own head about stuff, and I'm always telling myself certain things. I can't do that. I can't say this to this person. I can't do that. I can't hang out with this person. This person won't like me. I'm gonna bother them if I try to talk to them. All these things that are like everyday struggles of mine, and the retard maxing is like opening a new door for me, for sure. So I mean, it's like really simple and like, frankly, kind of masked as like stupid or satirical advice, but I think it's really real. And he lives by it, and he seems like he enjoys his life. So I guess I'll try to adopt that. Just going and doing things and trying things and not thinking about the outcome and not thinking about what this person will say or what this person will do. That's how you stay stuck. I saw a quote that was like, the man who wanders aimlessly gets further than the man who sits and waits for the guidance or something like that. So basically, the idea is that like you're better going through life blind but at least trying than trying to than sitting still and like being all rational about it. I hope that makes sense. That wasn't really super coherent, but yeah. I don't know. Hope that helps. Hope y'all learned something from that, I guess. Yeah. I'll try to keep y'all updated. Probably not daily, but at least a couple times a week. And hopefully it's up from here, because I really need to find some people that mesh with me. Life's not worth living in solitude. It's not you need people, you know. And I think I've been fed the lie all my life that I'm like some introvert. It's bullshit. It really is. I think I've just started to realize what I've been missing for all these years. And yeah, I'm really looking to turn it around. Thankfully I'm at college, so you know I have an easier time meeting people. I mean, granted, um, this semester is looking pretty dire. Like I don't have a bunch this semester. I mean, it's pretty dry, my classes, but I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll try. Maybe there'll be at least one person, you know, one gem, in the rough, and that would be a huge achievement, you know. Yeah, you know, at least I'm not. At least I'm in college. You know, I still have time. Yeah, there's hope. Um, so like overall, you know, downward spiral pretty heavily past few days, but um, it goes up. You know, there is hope, and you just have to be a little bit retarded, especially if you're an overthinker, especially if you're pessimistic, especially if you catch yourself not doing a lot of things because what will happen, what they'll say, just shoot for it, you know. And if it doesn't work out, you try it again, you know. You try it again. It's that simple. Uh, yeah, love y'all. Good night, and I've noticed you know more comments and stuff lately. It's really nice, you know, what y'all are saying and how y'all relate to my experiences. It's nice because it makes me feel better. It makes me feel better that I'm not the only person struggling and just stumbling through life. It's nice to hear that you know my brothers and sisters out there are going through it too. You know, so I appreciate every comment. Um, yeah, I appreciate y'all. I really do. Good night.